Well, hello, everybody at home. Welcome to our Wednesday medical update. As you know, if you've been following along with these conversations episodes on Tuesday and Thursday, we give some conversations from 6 feet that are very practical, helpful tips as we all live in this new day of containment, each family in their own homes. And then on Wednesday, we take some time with our parish nurse, Beth Moss, to give us some pointers and some medical updates. Just real quick before I welcome Beth to this dialogue, on Friday, we're going to have a special kind of an educational seminar from Dr. Laura Happy, who is on our medical team and has been really part of the brain work behind all of the recommendations that have come to Bethel's session pertaining to this. And Beth Moss herself actually tunes into what Dr. Happy and others are saying. So it'll be very good to have some basic information about viruses, how they work, and then a lot helping us understand what's actually going on in the research of this virus and how it impacts us. So look forward to that, presenting that to you on Friday. But for today, welcome, Beth. It's good to have you back. I know you've been very busy. And why don't we just go ahead and jump into this for everybody. The news media, and if we listen to some of our neighbors and the rumor mills and all that, it's very negative. There's a lot to be afraid of here. We do want to take it seriously, but I'm wondering if there's any good news out there about this virus.
Well, I think it's important to remember that statistically, with this particular virus, 80% of the people who get it are going to have mild to moderate symptoms and not need care outside of their home.
Yeah, that's a very good word. And is there any way of predicting that? I mean, so let's suppose somebody gets the virus, and that's what we want to talk a little bit about today. Is it like a friend, or is there any way to say, oh, well, it's not going to be serious for me? Or is there a way to know that ahead of time?
Just keeping in mind that 80% is not going to get serious. It's important to know what the symptoms are. Fever, cough, you're going to want to have a digital thermometer in your home. Fever, cough, chest tightness, those are things to look for. And once someone in your house develops a fever and cough, you're going to want to monitor the fever. You're going to want to isolate them. The thing I do want to stress, though, is what is it that you're going to see in your person that's going to prompt you to send them to the emergency room or call their doctor? That's going to be if your person has trouble breathing, if they have persistent chest pain, if there's some kind of new confusion that you're noticing, or you can't wake them up, you can't arouse them out of a sleep, if they have a bluish tone to their lips or their face. Those are all signs of concern. You need to call. If you get into those kind of symptoms, you need to call 911, and you also need to tell them when you call what you suspect.
So that leads us into I think a question that some people are asking. Let's suppose somebody does develop the virus, contract this thing, and they're in my house. What do we need to do other than what you just said?
Well, you're going to want to call their doctor. They will do a telephone screening to see if they would recommend that you be swabbed. And if they do, don't go to the doctor's office, call them. If they, after their screening process on the phone, want you to be swabbed, they're going to tell you where to go. We have several local drive-through swab areas, and they're going to tell you where to go. You have to have that pre-screening to go there anyway.
Oh, okay.
So you'll do that, and then you're going to come home, and you're going to wait for results. Hopefully you have a place in your home that you can isolate the person to one room, in one bathroom, so that they're if possible, they're not sharing a bathroom, not sharing a bedroom with anybody. And keep the door shut. Keep them in there. You're going to want to not share dishes, not share bath towels, not share linens. Try to keep all of that separate. The linens and towels and their clothes can go through the washing machine. If you're the one handling that, you're going to want to wear gloves to put them in and immediately wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Okay. My washing machine has a sanitizing cycle on it. So if it happens here, everything's going to go through that sanitizing cycle. It takes about 2 hours, but I'll find another set of sheets to use.
Okay.
You're going to want that person to be reminded to wash their hands often. You're going to want to have a trash can in their room with a trash bag where they can put tissues and just throw stuff away as they use it. Sanitizing surfaces frequently. That's what most of your commercial sanitizers, your household sanitizers like Lysol or Clorox wipes work well. If you don't have that, you can make your own with Clorox diluted. But you do want to keep those surfaces clean.
One question that I haven't, thanks, Beth, for those. I mean, again, you're just so practical, and that's one thing we appreciate about you. One question that, as you were talking, it came to my mind. What about air filters in the house? You know, they've got these different layers of air filtration. If I've got somebody in another room and we're breathing the same air, and should we change that air filter? Should we go as high as we possibly can to the filtration? Have you read anything about that?
I have not seen any documentation, but except on Facebook, those ads that go through the air on there, hey, change your filter with my filter. But I haven't seen anything come through the CDC or local government saying
that. Okay. Maybe we'll ask you next time for that, because I do that. To me, that's an interesting question as I think about how this thing gets. We'll wait for some other questions later. But now let's suppose that we've got a situation where somebody in the house has the virus and it's not serious enough to be hospitalized. It's going to run its course. So how do we know that it's done that? And what are the steps that we take after that?
The CDC has guidelines on that as to when it can be done, when they think it's run its course. The first thing is you have to be fever-free for 72 hours without any fever-reducing medicines. Okay. And since I said that, there's evidence out there that ibuprofen will exacerbate the symptoms of this virus. So stay away from the ibuprofen, the non-steroidals, just Tylenol, acetaminophen is the recommended fever reducer. So back to the no fever for 72 hours. And your symptoms have to be improved, your coughing, your discomfort. And at least the time period has to be at least 7 days from the onset of the symptoms that when they started with you. Now, some people, and I can't really find, I'm sure the documentation is out there, but some people are required to have negative swabs after they're done before they can go back into their lives. That's probably people going back to work like nurses and doctors and food service, grocery store. That one is no fever without meds for 72 hours and symptoms improved, and 2 negative swabs 24 hours apart that will say they can go back to work.
Okay, very good. Well, Beth, thanks again. You have been so faithful on this, not just a weekly basis. You are hard at work connecting people and answering questions the whole week long. So we just really appreciate you're doing it for a lot of people now, and thank you for that. And you bring such a peace to everybody. I think you've got such a calming presence, and with that, we remember a promise that Paul wrote that has been repeated several times, I know, among staff and others, that be anxious for nothing. And this is one of those times where we get the chance to put that absolute assurance in Jesus Christ, that God is sovereign. He's got this. He's seen this before it happened. He's seen the time after it has gone. And be anxious for nothing. Let's allow that peace of Christ to settle in our hearts in this moment, as in all moments. And wherever you're at, whoever you are, know that Beth and I and others on staff are more than happy to answer your questions, to pray with you, whatever it may take. And we miss you all. We miss seeing each other. But praise be to God for this opportunity to reach out like this. Thank you all, and we'll see you tomorrow for our conversations at home. And it's going to be with Joshua Doby. He's going to be talking about the financial aspects of this virus and the impact that has had for all of us. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.